Everyone, and welcome back to the first semifinal round. We're going to be watching Piccolo up against Vegeta. The picks and bans have already gone underway. We see Sobek and Loki banned out by Piccolo. Vegeta banned out Naja and Thor. The double jungle pick off there as well as solo lane and the support tank. We see Piccolo grabbing Bacchus, Xbalanque, Isis, and Arachne possibly. And then back over Vegeta, they're going to grab Athena, Agni, and Zhang Kui.
Yeah, we know Beatfolder liked that Arachne last time, so not a surprise to see it coming out again there. And we're seeing a Xbalanque actually come out as a range carry, something we don't see terribly often. It's pretty rare to see Xbalanque get picked up, just because, I mean, Neith and Apollo are just so ridiculously powerful with their everything kits that typically, I mean, it's always Neith versus Apollo unless somebody gets banned, which is pretty uncommon because it seems like there's just sort of an unsaid agreement that nobody is going to ban Neith or Apollo. Which I would honestly would like to see more, because it would bring in other ranged carries. But if you're just going to pick Xbalanque, that works too. And it looks like they're going to finish off by picking Kronos as their solo laner, which, again, we saw the ridiculous amount of work that Russian Goat's Kronos did before.
Yeah, very strong pickup there. Probably one of the best solo laners we've seen all day long. Pecky's, of course, a very strong mid laner with Isis. And we're going to see if Arachne works out again for them. They tried this before. It worked out for them because they won the early lane. But it wasn't so much about the Arachne. It just seemed like the solo lane and the mid lane won their lanes convincingly to the point where they didn't really need Arachne to win that matchup. So we'll see if it works out again for them. It seems like they really like this. As you mentioned, Xbalanque, a very, not a most common pick, but does get picked up, of course, with the Apollo and the Neith, getting that global presence without having to leave your lane. Of course, Apollo sometimes has to leave his lane to fly away, but definitely being able to contribute to team fights without having to, actually get up and go yourself by walking is very, very important for those carries. So final lineup here for Vegeta is going to be Zhang Kui, Agni, Neith, Fenrir, and Athena. It's going to be Zhang Kui in the solo short lane, Agni in the middle lane, Neith and Athena in the long lane, and then Fenrir in the jungle. For Piccolo, we're going to see Isis, Kronos, Bacchus, Arachne, and Xbalanque. Isis in the middle lane, Kronos in the solo short lane, Bacchus and Xbalanque in the long lane, and then Arachne in the jungle for both these teams. But we have a 2-minute timer going on the screen, guys, for the spectator to get caught up here. So stick around. We'll be back in just 2 minutes with this match ready to go. So don't go anywhere. This is going to be the semifinal round between Vegeta and Piccolo, and it'll be on screen in just about 2 minutes or so. Hey, everyone, and welcome back. Semifinal round, watching Vegeta up against Piccolo. The game is underway, and we're in this match. The players are heading out towards the jungle area. Let's go and cover who's playing what and where they're going. For Team Vegeta, we will see Undertoker playing Agni there in the middle lane. Running tree on Fenrir. Fire first on Athena, laning with his lane mate Neith, played by Agirizgar. And then Killers on Zhang Kui in the solo lane as they try to head out, try to invade this other side of the jungle. Speaking of which, the enemy team will be Piccolo, the red team, the top side of the map. Aximundi playing Bacchus there, laning up with his lane mate Xbalanque, played by IR Smooth. Beatfolder on Arachne in the jungle, Pecky's on Isis in the middle lane, and then Russian Goat on Kronos in the short lane as a stun on Athena will come out here.
Yep, looks like they are going to split up here. Vegeta doesn't really want to start this fight, but Piccolo does as Bacchus jumps in there. They're just in one giant 5-man wad, doing what damage they can. Undertoker actually taking a lot of damage, dropping very low here, and he is going to drop. Agni is going to give up first blood there, as it looks like they're trying to go in. The Brutalize comes out, and they manage to pick up Kronos in return. Isis also very, very low, pushing him back with a stun. Are they going to be able to finish them off? Fenrir takes his potion he started with, but he's pretty hurt, and so is Zhang Kui. He looks like he is probably going to drop it. He goes down as well. Oh, the level 1 team fighting is going down right now. Athena's covered in spiders, and Fenrir is in a pretty bad situation right now, as all of Piccolo collapses. There is the stun, and he is going to drop to Xbalanque. So a 1-for-3 trade in favor of Team Piccolo is this level 1 team fight here with nobody actually picking up. Oh no, they did. Piccolo did get one of the mid camps, but I mean, right now we're starting with a 1,200 gold advantage.
Yeah, 1,300 gold now as the players are heading towards their lane here. At the 44-second mark, we had a 1,200 gold advantage. That's a very large swing that we really haven't seen too often. In fact, we almost never see that kind of difference this early on in the game. We're going to see Neith actually on the right side of the map. I don't really know why she's over here. She could be helping out with the camps or doing something along those lines, but again, going to be very late to the lane. Probably one of the reasons why this gap continues to get bigger is she's just not able to get that golden experience. Throws out a spirit arrow and gets a spirit ball in the face. I guess the spirit, the stronger spirit is going to be with Isis there. She kind of heads back towards her mid tower. But overall, we see a very strong lead for Vegeta right now. Piccolo still trying to clear out those waves, see if they can get this gap lower and lower. But right now, that was a very tough start for them.
Do I have the teams backwards? I thought Vegeta was on the left.
Vegeta is on the left.
Wrong? Oh, you just said him wrong. Okay, never mind then. Piccolo starting out with a pretty big lead here. And Vegeta not starting out so well with that early game. One thing worth noting, of those 3 kills that got picked up right in the beginning, 2 of them got put onto Xbalanque. And Xbalanque's passive, of course, giving him physical power for every kill he gets. So he's starting off with 2, putting that to good use by almost dying in the left lane here. With a 1-level advantage and those 2 stacks on his passive, he just got a flat plus 10 physical power. That's really going to help him in the early game to put out a lot of hurt.
Yeah, stacking up to 6 times, of course, will give him 30 permanent physical power early on. You want to get as many kills as you can on Xbalanque. Of course, when Xbalanque first came out, it had to be during the activation of his ultimate, which was a very tight window and made Xbalanque kind of awkward. But now, I mean, it's literally any kill you get early on. I think it works for assists as well. Allows you to get that free physical power early on. We see Zhonghui going after Kronos, and Kronos, after being completely unstoppable last time we watched him play, getting pushed back to his tower and just shut down by Zhang Kui.
He bullied out of lane very, very hard. Arachne trying to kind of follow Fenrir here. Fenrir deciding he's going to start this fight, brutalizing. The Flame Wave comes out for the stun, and Arachne is now in a horrible position, but Fenrir does not carry them back into the Meteor. While Arachne was on his head, that Xbalanque stun going to come out on Fenrir as he gets chewed on by some spiders. But at the end of the day, he is going to be okay. And in the left lane, the Intoxicate is enough to drop Athena, and Neith is so very low. Forced back in the tower. I did not think that was going to be quite enough damage to finish her off. I was wrong, and now Xbalanque at almost completely full health is just left free reign to push as everyone else goes home.
That was kind of a misplay on Fenrir and Agni's part. Agni missing the meteor a little bit too far forward, and Fenrir kind of stopping to run forward to get him into the meteor there. Was a free kill on the Arachne, but looks like both the players will be forced back. Overall, we will see Athena die to the Intoxicate from the Bacchus in the left lane. Here comes the Arachne. Hand of the Gods comes out. Spirit Ball not going to land for the stun there. The web is on the ground. There's the silence. Wind Gust going to come out and not going to do a whole lot as he dashes away. Arachne, not level 5, does not have the hook available. Chronos trying to get some kind of advantage in the right side lane, being pushed out so early by Zhang Kui. Checking the individual numbers, we're actually see Zhang Kui sitting at 2,600 gold versus the Kronos' 2,800. So Kronos is now out farming the Zhang Kui because Zhang Kui left the lane. As Reddy comes from the flank here, Zhang Kui, of course, has no way to disengage himself, but does have his ultimate, doing a lot of damage to the Kronos. Look at the control he has and the healing, avoiding the damage, and there's the damage over time effect ticking on both of them, forcing Arachne and Kronos back, and Zhang Kui just does not care. Initiation in the middle lane coming out from Fenrir, is going to jump over the wall on top of the Isis. Ragnarok going to come out pretty soon. Does he have it available? It looks like he does. He's not going to use it right away, taking so much damage. I'm not sure why he has yet to use it. He's going to fall to Isis with his ultimate off cooldown. I don't know if he just didn't have enough mana to use it or was just waiting for a good opportunity. Right side lane was initiation on top of the Zhang Kui as well. There goes a double stun that kills. They won't stop. The burst damage. The Neith ultimate on the Arachne. Is it going to be enough to save the Zhang Kui? It looks like it might. There goes the one. The one from the Kronos not going to land as Zhang Kui heads back into tower range. A few basic attacks, but not in range. Overall, just the Fenrir fall.
Jeez. Big exchange there, and that really is the story of Zhang Kui's early game once he hits level 5. Once Zhang Kui gets his passive stacked up and gets his ultimate, I mean, really super early on, 120 protections from popping his ult with a full passive. You try to gank him, Zhang Kui's like, oh, gank, thanks for the double kill. I'd love to kill both of you. Pops his ultimate, cares nothing for anyone's shenanigans, and just goes totally ham. And although he wasn't able to pick up either kill there on Kronos or Arachne, I feel like he probably could have grabbed that Arachne with a little bit of better play. Just kind of a couple missed abilities, not the greatest utilization of his ultimate there. Arachne was left super, super low. Almost came back with a vengeance. And now Arachne trying, missing the cocoon as Agni dashes away here to stay alive. Back to his lane to try and get this pushed up. Now, this is just a ridiculously back and forth battle. But all the kills so far ending up for Team Piccolo.
Yeah, 2,100 gold up is Piccolo as well as 600, now 900 experience. Now keep in mind this is with an Arachne on your team. Arachne is always going to be that hit or miss type character where it could work out great, it could not. Ragnarok coming out from the Fenrir, bringing him into tower range will be that Shibalonki. Great pickup there. There's the ultimate Rising Jaguar, but the brutalized through the Rising Jaguar will be enough to finish off the Shibalonki. A free kill for Vegeta in left lane. Now 5-2 here at the 6.5 minute mark. That's going to clear the gap down to about 1,800 or so. So they're clearing a little bit of the golden experience, but the experience looks like it's about to level off. No, it's still about 1,000, so it didn't seem to influence too much as they leveraged their overall solo experience across the map. Arachne still clearing out those camps quite efficiently versus the Fenrir, who's going for more ganks.
Absolutely. It looks like she is going for another option on Zhonghui. Zhonghui fully aware he's there. Just throwing a card to the wall. Just swinging, hoping he might hit the spider. It looks like he's actually going to follow her rotation as Isis is dropping very, very low. As is Agni, they're both so low. Zhonghui wants to pick up this Isis. Is he going to get it? I don't know. Not if he comes out this door, he's not. She is definitely going to get away. And he might just lead himself into a bad situation. Pokes his head out, says nope, and heads back into the jungle, heading back over. And again, that's just going to let Kronos get a little bit more farm. Kronos is just slowly edging ahead of Zhonghui here as Zhonghui keeps leaving lane for stuff like this that ends up not paying off.
Going to be eaten by some spiders here. We're not entirely sure why the Arachne shut out the hook and then threw out the web. Not really a good combination there. With the cripple on the slow, I think Arachne could have had an easy time landing that hook and getting the kill there on the Agni. Now invading on the Fenrir is exactly what you need to do as the Arachne. But here comes the Athena ultimate in response. Going to dunk down. Wingut's going to do a lot of damage. The Fenrir will fall. There's shield wall on the ground. Agni rotates over. Going to hit the stun and the meteor and the flame wave. There goes a 1-for-1 jungler exchange. Ice going to take some harassment here. Neith is here. Athena is here. Agni is here. A 3v2 situation. Missing a meteor will be the Agni. Getting rooted and forced back is the niche. She's going to backflip out of there. Spirit Ball on the Athena. Not a whole lot they can do here, but here comes Shibalonki. They may have enough to do this. They have no globals to contribute. Looks like Neith wants to go home. Athena kind of blocked that. There's the silence. There's the wind gust. There's one meteor and a double stun. Fenrir comes in from the tower. Belch of the gods. Isis ultimate keeping themselves alive. The burst will finish off Athena. Fenrir comes out. Does he have an ultimate? He does indeed. Spirit Ball comes out. They want to go for the Agni. Picking up the Isis would be a free kill if they can do it. Bringing it to tower. There's an Neith ultimate. And this is a dead Isis. Got way too greedy there. No reason to dive all the way to the tier 2 tower at the 8.5 minute mark, but they did get a kill on the Athena, so when it's all said and done, about a 2-for-1 exchange for Piccolo, putting themselves at 7-4, but did lose the Isis.
2 for 2 even because the Arachne went down
right,
as well. So that one was a totally even trade there. The Zhonghui ulting in response to being in the middle of everybody right now decides, I should probably walk away. I guess I don't really want to 1v3 pretty much their entire team. And just casually walks out and packs and goes home after just walking out of the middle of 3 people. Kronos, again, I mean, this has been the story of the solo lane. Zhonghui goes out to do stuff, doesn't actually do anything. Kronos pushes in, gets a bunch of XP, gets a bunch of gold. He's now 300 out of Zhonghui, and Zhonghui's tower is dropping pretty low in HP. I mean, Zhonghui just keeps leaving for everything. Isis trying to get this Agni here as Athena's ulting on top of him to keep him alive. The Spirit Ball, oh, he dashes out of it! He's gonna be okay for right now. The taunt lands, and suddenly the tables are turned, and Isis has fallen. And Agni actually gets out of wave. Okay, no damage. Oh, well, lots of damage, but no death. That's always a benefit when you don't get the death. You don't want that. I cannot believe he pulled away from that one.
I'm not sure what happened there. I would have to assume that Isis did not have the Wind Gust available. She kind of inched toward the Agni, trying to get a silence off. I think her abilities were on cooldown at that point. Otherwise, it was a free guaranteed kill for the Isis. Threw out the Spirit Ball and kind of wiggled around a bit, tried to use something. Then the silence came out. The Wind Gust didn't come out at all. And looks like the Agni got a good stun off with the Flame Wave and had a lot of team support. The Athenian ultimate keeping him alive. I think if the Isis didn't detonate the Spirit Ball and let it go to max range, he still would have gotten the kill on the Agni, but just was not enough. There's a silence, there's a Spirit Ball, Wind Gust to clear out the wave, a little bit of poke on the Agni. Here comes Fenrir, he has the ultimate available to him. There goes the meteor, not going to be able to go off in time. The circle protection is on the ground. Spirit Ball on the edge of it, the ultimate pops, but not going to do damage to the Agni. Bring him into tower range is the Fenrir. Can she get out in time? There goes the slow, the Brutalize will finish him off. Bacchus and Arachne are here. Can the hook land? It will land on top of running team. Fenrir being bring out, the beats get popped. Agni under tower range, he's taking the intoxicate damage, being forced out. Bacchus half HP. Shibalonki rotating over. There's Neith in the jungle. Zhonghui on his way as well. Looks like the rotation going to come a little bit late. Spirit Arrow going to land on the ground. Arachne trying to go after this. The cripple may come out soon. There goes the cripple. Not going to do a whole lot. There really isn't much they can do now as Zhonghui comes over the middle lane. It's going to be a big wash overall, but looks like they did get the Isis, and Isis just kind of on the downslope right now.
just getting blown up. That's like the third time that's happened. The story of Isis's life right now is Fenrir shows up, Fenrir ults, Isis dies. I mean, that seems to just be what's happening over and over here. And it looks like, I mean, he does have the beads, but it's only the rank 1 beads right now. So I got the 3-minute cooldown there of being able to jump out of Fenrir's stupid mouth and not die. And as we see Neith and Athena heading back over to their lanes here, I mean, again, solo lane, Kronos leaves lane for no man. This is his home. This is where he lives. Kronos is going to farm his little heart out until it's late game and he's huge. And with that, he is going to take a tower.
Well, Zhonghui definitely has a very strong early game, so they like to leverage that to get some kills, to get themselves back into this game. But one of the biggest things is Kronos is a very strong late game character, and Russian Goat has proven himself in the last match we watched him play that he's a very powerful and confident Kronos player. So we're going to see him level 13 up against the Zhonghui's level 12. Overall goal, we see Isis getting picked off in the mid lane, solo kill by Agni there, very well played. Diving the tower without a dash, actually. Ragnarok kind of trying to come over here and hope to get a hook off. Neith ultimate going to come out as well. There's a Neith ultimate. Fenrir goes for the Ragnarok, picking up the Arachne, and this is going to be a free kill as Athena dies in the left lane just to the Shibalanke, it looks like. Going out of burst damage there, but looks like they will get the Arachne and the Isis in exchange for the Athena. Overall, very, very good exchange, but back to my original point, 5,800 gold for Kronos versus the 5,200, so just about 600 gold up individually is the Kronos, just because he hasn't left the lane.
Absolutely, absolutely. And when you're looking also, if you want to compare even reels, Shibalanke and Neith right now, 4,500 to 6,400. Shibalanke with his Heartseeker, almost 2k up on Neith. Shibalanke is huge. He is huge. And I mean, those 2 early kills really, really helped him out. They helped stack up his passive. They gave him just that flat 10 physical power early on. It looks like they see Kronos growing, they see this as a problem, and they're starting to try and set up a gank here as Fenrir hangs out in the jungle, but Kronos looks like he did spot him out, and Fenrir does not have his ultimate available, so instead Fenrir is just going to take their blue to make sure, at the very least, solo laner doesn't get his mana buff, and jungler gets a little less jungle.
Spirit Ball going to come out, not going to land. Arachne coming from the flank here, needs to land the cripple first. Ice is already backing off, so no kill opportunity there. Arachne still hanging in the backside. Looks like they will be going for a gank here on the Neith. Shoots at the Spirit, not going to land. Shibalanke ultimate, as well as the Spirit Ball, going to force the Athena backwards. Cripple comes out for the Arachne. She's level 9 right now. Circle Protection's on the ground. Going to heal out both the Bacchus and the Isis a little bit. Isis hitting about half HP. Agni still hanging around here. Shibalanke heading his way over to the right side lane. Fenrir going to clear out that blue buff, and Zhonghui and Kronos still going at it. But big wash from them, and Agni just going to keep farming here.
Absolutely. I mean, Agni's pretty big, too. If you want to talk about just raw experience, I mean, IR Smooth on Shibalanke might have the gold lead, but Agni is 15. I mean, Agni is pretty fat right now. He's been winning his lane pretty decisively. As you can see, he's 4-1 against the 2-4 Isis. And neither of them actually have picked up a Doom Orb. It's just Kronos that has that stacking item, as well as Shibalanke with the Heartseeker. So again, Piccolo has got all the stacking items for this game. Vegeta hasn't picked up any of them at all, which is a bit interesting because I feel like right now a stacking item like a Doom Orb on Agni would have been pretty awesome right now. It could have done a lot of work for them because he's not really dying. He's just doing a lot of justice. Arachne stealing their jungle, just taking their blue buff, and might be in a good position to try and pick up a kill.
Athena almost dying yet again to Shibalanke. She drops so very low there. Shibalanke just hitting so hard that what can she really do about it? Neith doing some poke there on the Shibalanke, forcing backwards. Bellybuck comes out. Isis again getting picked off in the middle lane. Fenrir and Agni getting a solo kill, or a double kill there. Both of them using all the meteors as well as the Ragnarok ultimate. As the Bacchus gets picked off by the Neith in the left lane. Now Arachne being surrounded here. Fenrir's going to jump right past. This might be a solo kill for the Agni. Path of Flames going to come out soon. There's the Path of Flames. The damage over time effect isn't going to be enough. It's taking him so low. The meteor comes out. Actually doesn't have me. There's a Shibalanke ultimate that I heard. And it looks like Arachne will survive. Fenrir rotating to the left side lane for some strange reason. Shibalanke's hanging out here. Our Agni is not in a position to capitalize on this. It doesn't look like. Does he have anything? Looks going to clear out the wave instead. Again, a lot of miscommunication. Jumping into the area. Does he have an ultimate? There's the Brutalize through the Rising Jaguar. Yet again, Shibalanke falling victim to the effect that is Brutalize Fenrir.
Brutalize hard. Start Brutalize, follow target through any and all escapes as he gets ripped down under his own tower. Arachne rotating over now to cover the mid lane as Isis teleports back in with her respawn, determined not to lose this tower. And I have to say, with all the butt kicking that's gone down in mid right now, I gotta say I'll give it to Isis that she hasn't lost her tower yet. right now the only tower that's dropped has actually been one of Vegeta's, and they've managed to come back pretty hard. I mean, they're basically even. The goal difference is less than 100. They have come back so hard right now, taking a 3-kill advantage, 11-8. They are putting down the fight. They are refusing to simply roll over and die.
Arachne stacking in some eggs in front of the gold theory, probably looking to do this pretty soon. Athena will spot it out and most likely clean these off her plate. Ice is going to head into the jungle here, kind of group up with the Arachne again. We see Vegeta take a slight gold lead, 100 gold there, and then 3,800 experience overall. So what we saw was Piccolo take a very dominant performance early on, getting the first blood, second blood, and I think third blood as well, on top of everything else. But then we see Vegeta starting to lane a little bit more efficiently, group up more often, get some good kills there. Ice is, of course, getting hyper aggressive when it's not necessarily the best decision to do so. So we see 2, 5, and 4. Ice is giving a lot of gold away in the early game to Vegeta, and Vegeta will take an 11-8 lead here at the 17-minute mark. Ice is kind of helping out to clear out these side camps, but Fenrir and Neith are not having any of it. And back to Kronos and Zhang Kui. Looks like Kronos, while Zhang Kui left yet again, got a tower in the right side lane.
He got that tower a little while ago. That's been down, but he is definitely farming like a crazy person right now, as he is just dominating Zhang Kui in farm with almost 600 gold advantage. I mean, he's just been over there doing his solo thing. Kronos has seriously rotated for absolutely nothing, which is almost starting to hurt them a little bit, because we're seeing Vegeta bring everyone into these fights, and they haven't really done like a big group attack yet, but people trickle in to support as they're necessary, and they just have one more man available for rotations and fights than Piccolo does, because nothing in the known universe will make Kronos leave his lane. He's going to sit there and farm until he's fat, and then he's going to come in and late game Kronos all over everybody's face, which is a pretty good game plan. But I mean, sometimes I feel like if he would have rotated into a couple of these fights, Piccolo could be in a better position than they are right now, as the ultimate's coming out from Zhang Kui. He's going ham on Arachne, but will he have the damage? Not if she ults or blinks away. He definitely won't. Athena ulting over. Arachne is so very low. Here comes a Neith ultimate on Kronos, and oh, the CC. No rewind for you, buddy. They're all going to show up and shut him down. You can sit in your lane and farm all day long. We will bring the fight to you. Agni and Bacchus slapping each other as Isis shows up now, putting down the hurt, and the Intoxicate is a whiff as he dashes away, hitting nothing. Bacchus actually taking a lot of damage, both him and Agni dropping very low, field goaling that Spirit Ball. They're just going to disengage here, but they're going to take their mid camp. Shimalake coming up from behind. Just kind of dart slapping him. Oh, Shimalake.
Zhang Kui in the right side lane, facing up Arachne yet again. Arachne getting jumped by Fenrir. There's the Brutalize for another time. We see Fenrir dive the tower with the Brutalize, getting a kill. Athena rotating over to help them out, possibly to push on this tower. I don't see them defending this unless Kronos gets up. He's going to get up in 18 seconds. This tower will fall in favor of Vegeta. So overall, we'll see Vegeta take an 1,100 gold lead as well as 6,600 experience lead. Something we didn't really expect to see, as Piccolo was dominating every form of the early game. There goes a meteor from the Audi, clear out this mid lane. This mid tower about to fall. In fact, Audi could get this mid tower if he's fast enough, and the minions don't get pushed too far back from the wing guns. Looks like he will be doing that as soon as they come into tower range. A few more shots. There's the silence, but is it going to be enough? The base attacks are coming out. Gonna get the tower. There's a stun. He wants the kill instead. One more meteor. He doesn't have it. Again, just this tower, I swear. Just smack it. Just throw a little fireball at it. Just Luigi this thing.
Oh, look at his tower. Look at his tower. It's just as low.
Luigi it. Just throw a fireball. Something.
Either of them can just walk in. Kronos looks like he might. He's coming around, finally leaving his lane, leaving the shelter of his home, and getting ulted by Zhang Kui immediately, and just dominated. That is what happens when Stoop Kid leaves his stoop. He just gets blown up by a giant, hairy demon sack man. I mean, just nothing you can really do there. Fenrir now jumping in. Ragnarok actually going down on the Bacchus just because he looked like the lowest health target, but it's going to work for them. He's very low Isis ult, keeping him alive for now as they try to go ham on the Isis, manage to take him down. Are they going to dive the tower for Arachne? I don't know. I think they probably could, but it looks like they're not going to. They're going to be content to pile in and finally sneeze on this tower.
5 players here will take out the Vegeta will take out the mid tower for Piccolo. 15-8 now, crossing over to the 21-minute mark. We're going to see a Jotun's Wrath finish on the Fenrir, starting up a Blood Forge now, looking for pure damage and a little bit of life still to keep himself alive. Zhang Kui also going for the Wild Absolution after the Focus Void Zone, and CDR from the Shoes of Focus will be able to be quite tanky though going forward. Will be able to avoid the physical damage from the Shivalanke and the Arachne, and a lot of magical damage from the Kronos, Isis, and Bacchus. And like you were mentioning, I mean, Kronos has been farming so very well, the second most farmed on his team, but he's 0-3, and every time he's come out, he's not the dominant force that they really wanted him to be. He was farming up and avoiding team fights early on so that when he came out in team fights later, he would be so strong that Vegeta couldn't deal with it. But thus far, he's come out twice and died immediately. He has not been very valuable going forward. He's about to finish off that Demonic Grip, has the Combat Blink available, but again, it's not the damage they were expecting, and they really need him right now.
Absolutely. I mean, here's the problem. Kronos has not even been able to pop off a rewind yet. So let's look at the enemy team. Agni, stuns for days. Fenrir, stuns, and also Ragnarok. Zhang Kui, stuns. Neith, stuns. I mean, every time he comes out, he gets CC chained into non-existence. He can't even get out and pop his rewind. And although he picked up Combat Blink, I feel like Aegis was not the world's best idea. I feel like on Kronos, especially when you already have Combat Blink that you can blink away from every situation, Beads would have done him a lot better, because he could have Beads and Rewound in basically every situation where he's been totally destroyed and saved himself, or even Beads and Combat Blinked away. But when he just gets chain stunned for like 6 to 8 business days, and then dominated, Arachne gets blown up by everybody in the mid lane. That's what happens. And then the ultimate from Zhang Kui just kind of stopping anyone from going in. Fenrir's brutalized going down. The ultimate from Isis coming out, trying so hard to keep Bacchus alive, but it's just not going to be. They are going to destroy this fat man before he can get away. He's put on the wiggles and trying his very best, but he's totally doomed. Zhang Kui, though, as Kronos rotates in, finally getting his revenge and putting the Demon Man down. A lot of damage coming out from Shivalanke, but Agni answering it with even more pain, laying down just so much damage with a couple of meteors and a flame wave, and what turned into a 3-for-1 trade. At least they got the Zhang Kui, but again, he doesn't have any stacking items. It's not as big of a pick.
But at what cost? Again, we're going to see a 3-for-1 exchange here in the middle lane. Looks like there was another. Kronos comes out here, he gets taunted immediately. It looks like Agni will get away because of that taunt. Great play. The rewind comes out, and he's just going to disappear into the darkness as he flies away. Finally get a rewind off in that whole engagement. But again, I mean, you look at the mobility. You look at the CC from Team Vegeta. Agni with a dash, Fenrir with 2 jumps, and, high movement speed CC immunity. You have the Zhang Kui, who doesn't really have much mobility, but does have a good stun and slow. Neith backflip with an ultimate. Athena with a dash, a taunt. They have lots of CC and mobility. And then you look at Piccolo, where Kronos has, his movement speed, and that's about it. You have Isis, again, a little bit of movement speed, and that's it. Arachne has a slow with a web, and that's about it. 3 players who don't have a natural escape other than just natural movement speed, who are getting shut down by high mobility, high CC team in team fights, and there's not a whole lot they can do about it. There's a middle tower as the teleport comes out. Canceling that will be Russian Goat. Looking back in the charts, we're going to see 4,800 gold up is Vegeta, as well as 11,500 experience. And at this point, the experience is turning out to be more important than the gold. I mean, those levels on your ultimate, extra ultimate level, longer durations, shorter cooldowns is so important. We see Arachne getting jumped on here by the Agni, taking so much damage. Chrono comes out. There's a hook on the Agni, but was that the best decision is the question. If Agni stays still, there's the Zhang Kui ultimate, Neith ultimate, there's the slow. There goes the dead spider getting squashed out in the jungle. Blink forward. He wants it so very bad. Bacchus rotates, not able to save anything. So a free kill on Arachne there, now 19-9 as we cross over to the 25-minute mark. Piccolo is just having such a hard time keeping up.
Absolutely. I mean, they just need something to turn this game around right now. Their early game was so good. They started out so well, but then Vegeta's pulling it together, and I mean, really, it is just a mobility battle. Shivalanke trying desperately to save his left tower here, and Bacchus teleports in as well, missing his belly flop, unfortunately, as the entire game rotates over to participate. Here's the Jungle Wars. Agni dashes away before the Spirit Bomb stun can wound him. There looks like he still took the damage from it, though. The CC immunity from his dash just stopped the stun from going off because he suddenly only has half of his HP. That's just something that's very frequently underestimated. A max range Isis Spirit Ball hurts so bad, especially against a squishy like Agni, who all he really has to his name is Void Stone, which is a little bit of magical protection. It's 50. It's something. That's not enough. I mean, even Fenrir right there just got a third of his health blown off by Isis just hitting him in the face with their balls. I mean, it just does so much damage here. And everyone's piling in just waiting for a big team fight to start.
Left side definitely being pushed up by Vegeta. The towers are quite low, so any kind of engagement here could mean a tower for either team. Of course, Piccolo in a tough spot to grab that team fight victory. We have Audi finally picking up a Breastplate of Valor, but again, a level 13 Arachne at this point falling behind, not able to finish out the Void Blade. Initiation for the Fenrir. There's the Ragnarok. Ultimate comes off underneath, finishing off the Isis in the backside. Looks like the Fenrir will lose his life as well to the Crows. The meteors coming out from the Audi doing so much damage. Bacchus about to fall. Spirit Arrow hit him right in the backside. Arachne falls as well. Thus far, only a 3-for-1 exchange. Going right after the Xbalanque, who blinks away. Has the dot on him. Looks like the double dot. The Xbalanque, or the Agni as well as the Zhonghui dots were both ticking on him. Dashing forward is the Athena. Talk going to come out pretty soon. A meteor comes out doing so much damage to Kronos. It did almost half his HP in one meteor. Really spells the story out for you with how much damage Agni can do to Kronos. And when it's all said and done, a 4-for-1 exchange in favor of Vegeta, and they're just going to take a tower and a Gold Fury.
Absolutely a great fight for them there, and they're doing, I've been complaining about it all day, and I know it's a casual tournament, but it's one of those things that just like people really need to learn to not do to improve, and Vegeta is doing such a good job of it, and that is completely ignoring Bacchus. They're pretty much not focusing anything on him at all. We saw Agni actually Path of Flames through Bacchus to pick up the kill on Xbalanque in the back to lay down all the damage there to try and attack everybody else. Bacchus just getting nuked by whatever AoEs happen to pick him up just by merit of the fact that he's there, and then once he's low, he gets cleaned up. But they aren't focusing effort on him. They aren't putting any skills other than when he's in like kill range and they're just mopping up. They're not wasting abilities on hurting the tank. They're totally ignoring him. They're walking around him. They're dashing through him and killing the delicious little squishies in the back.
Yeah, that's the whole idea. You really want to do that because once the squishies are down, there's not a whole lot the tanks can do. Even the tank lives. I mean, you just ignore them further. I mean, the damage is very limited. Box goes for a playoff up on the Audi. The stun going to come out pretty soon, but not in time. Cripple on Zhonghui. Pops his ultimate. Is it going to be enough to heal him up is the question. Arachne on his head. Athena ult to keep himself alive. Athena will not be able to land down, but looks like the Audi damage will be enough to force them back away, but not enough to get a kill. Zhonghui getting picked off yet again. It seems like he's just not tanky enough to deal with the damage, even though they're so far ahead. Shield wall's on the ground. There's the silence. Initiation, Spirit Ball, double stun. Bacchus still looking for opportunity to initiate here. Xbalanque is in the fight, doing so much damage to Neith. Neith forced the backflip away there. Bacchus very low. Neith kneeling down, looking for opportunity to kneel and shoot out an ultimate. Will she get it? She will not as Bacchus gets out of range. Looks like Isis was just about to get stopped there by the Athena. Shield wall on the ground. The darts are coming out, doing a little bit of harassment to the Athena and the Fenrir, but really not doing a whole lot overall. Bacchus will be forced to back. Isis will be forced to back. No kills thus far besides Zhonghui. Piccolo taking a little bit of a kill there, but they're still behind 8,000 gold and twice that amount in experience.
Absolutely. I mean, with that Zhonghui pickup there, I mean, this is really Zhonghui's downside. I mean, he came out and people cried because he pub stomped, and yeah, he does. But when you get into an organized game like this, realistically, he's got no escape. He technically has a stun. I mean, all he has is that little tankiness of his magical demon sack, and once he pops his ultimate, that's all gone. He's literally just a mage with no mobility or real CC to keep himself alive, and he is so easy to focus down. So easy. He's just squishy as absolutely anything. Once his passive's down, yeah, he looks like a big fat guy, but Fenrir's gonna get hit in the face with a lot of balls and die. That was just a collapse right there. I mean, there's not a whole lot to say about that. Everybody just kind of showed up and Fenrir died. I mean, he was kind of up by himself in the mid-cap. Probably not good positioning on his end there. But now we are going to have a huge rotation go down on Athena. And she's going to try to ult away. Is she going to make it to freedom? Yes, she will. Athena just like, nope, I must go. My people need me. Leaping away from the entirety of Team Piccolo.
Looks like she will be escaping there. She's so tanky right now. Again, it really portrays how much a tank needs to be effective in a match. I mean, just sitting on those greaves, the reinforced greaves, as well as the sovereignty, not really a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, but you can see the effect that it has on someone who already has strong natural stat gains in HP, HP5, and protections. So someone like Athena with just those two items and it was actually a tier 1 bulwark before she went and got another one, ended up being able to get that off there and survive the whole gank there. We see 5 players grouping up. Arachne taking a lot of harassment. Hook comes out. They will probably be able to pick off this Arachne in the meantime. Zhonghui ultimate is out. There's the Intoxicate doing a little bit of chaotic damage there. Pecky's getting picked off yet again. Zhonghui getting a double kill, but dropping so low. Shibalaki wants it so very bad. Neith ultimate comes out, landing right on top of the Chronos, who's going to rewind the whole thing and run back into the enemy team. There goes Neith right on top of it. There's the stun coming out from the Chronos. A good initiation there. Zhonghui getting lower and lower and lower. Chronos gets a one-off. A few basic attacks. There goes Zhonghui. Kind of run by and picking him off there. Bog is getting very, very low. Looks like he might survive. Chronos will not be able to boast the same as the stun comes out. 2 for 1 thus far at the end of this team fight. A 3 for 1. But when it's all said and done, it's a 4 for 1. Of course, Isis died very, very early on. Actually, Arachne died very early on in that entire team fight. So, I mean, what can they do to come back? There's Zhonghui definitely a weak point for Vegeta. But for Piccolo, Arachne isn't doing a whole lot for her team. Not only that, but she's initiating first and getting picked off immediately.
She is getting absolutely blown up. And I mean, she is going into the bulwark now, so she is starting to build defensively, which is really what she needs to do. Because once you get behind as Arachne, stop. Just stop. You're a bruiser now. You don't get to play the murder game anymore. You are there for CC. You're there for your giant crippling web. You're there for your silence. You're there for your pulls. You're there for everything. And Shibalaki is here to try and steal this fire giant and just die. Because he is the most screwed person I have ever seen in my entire life. So after he gets totally torn down by the 4 fire gianted members of Vegeta who were finishing off that fire giant there, they're just going to stomp around, and now with only Arachne and Isis up and Bach is coming in a little bit here, they're going to be looking to push this advantage and take these last towers.
Mid tower now exposed there for Piccolo. The Fire Giant will go to Vegeta. They will get Shibalunky as a consolation prize in the meantime. Ice throwing a Spirit Ball trying to force him off this tower, but what really can they do at this point? They're actually stealing away a movement speed buff while they're taking the tower. Did not matter though, they still got the tower at the same time. We're at the 32.5 minute mark. They're going to hustle over to the right side, pick up another tower, and this is what you'd expect from an experienced team or a team of players that really understand the current game. Smite is a high-paced, fast action game. You want to make sure that anytime you get an objective or anytime you get a big lead in a team fight or some kind of gank opportunity, you want to follow it up with lots of tower pushing and objective securing and lots of other things so that that small lead turns into a big lead. That's really what Smite is about, and that's the kind of aspect you'll see from competitive tournaments. You know, the EU and NA tournament series hosted by Hi-Rez every single weekend, as well as the Invitational at Gamescom and PAX. It's very important that you follow up small advantages with very, very big pushes.
Absolutely. And that's really, I mean, turning a small advantage into a big advantage is just how you MOBA in general. That's not even Smite exclusive, but it definitely holds true in Smite. I mean, taking that Fire Giant and being able to push down that mid and right tower with it, leaving them with just one tower now, they're in a pretty lame position. I mean, there's not really a whole lot they can do. Piccolo is very much on the back foot here, trying to push back out, fighting out from an almost 12,000 gold difference with one tower left to their name, and still Fire Giant for another 2 minutes on everybody but Zhonghui. So they need to do something, and they're trying to clump up and make something happen. As you can see, all 5 of them now sticking relatively close together over on the right side.
Yeah, they got lots of vision everywhere. It looks like in front of the Gold Fury there are 2 wards being placed down. 1 sentry from Piccolo and 1 standard from Vegeta. Lots of wards over here on the backside. Lots of vision here left area from both teams. Not a whole lot of sentries. Definitely on the right side as well. It seems like both teams are buying too many of the standard wards. We do actually see a sentry ward right next to a regular ward there on the right side near the Fire Giant. The Fire Giant buff looks like it will be lasting another minute and a half. So if a team fight happens in the next minute and a half, Vegeta will still have that buff active, but of course after that point it will fall off, and then the Fire Giant will respawn a minute later. The Spirit Ball going to shoot out there, looking for a poke opportunity from Isis. Again, the difference here between these two teams is going to be 13.5 thousand gold and 26,000 experience, which you can really see all players on Vegeta level 20 versus level 15 Arachne, level 15 Bacchus, and level 19 Shibalaki. A big experience swing for Vegeta, which will pan out to the rest of this team fight. So the question is, who's going to initiate here? We see 1 meter coming out, not going to land there on Piccolo. They're still desperately trying to defend this Phoenix, while Fenrir goes for a split push. Smart play from Vegeta here. They know they have the control. They know they even have a chance of winning this team fight 4v5, honestly, and Fenrir's going to take the opportunity to push the middle lane.
Absolutely a good play. Neith's going to go over there with him, just splitting up as much as possible. And they're fine to sit back here because Vegeta knows that Piccolo is not going to start the fight. They are not going to initiate. As Bacchus jumps in on Fenrir, they're not quick enough, though. They're able to get that middle Phoenix down. Fenrir is just going to fall back to Shibalaki. Ult's not going to hold him long enough. And there it is. That split push was absolutely successful. Bacchus rotated over, Isis rotated over, but it was too late. That's one Phoenix down, and now the Fire Nation is going to pour in and ruin everything. So as they all group around here, everyone's going to pile in on this left Phoenix, and now we're going to have someone starting a party here, I am sure. Here comes Bacchus jumping in. These backflips away. The Belch comes out, landing a stun on Agni, who's taking damage from the Wing Gust, but he's forced to dash away there. As Jean-Qui jumps in and says, screw everything. He just jumps in, ults, and goes ham. They are focusing that Isis, but she's going to blink away. Arachne is so very, very low. Do they have the damage to take out Xbalanque? With that taunt, I'm sure they do, but they're going to lose the Fenrir and the Neath. This is getting turned around pretty hard. They're 2 down. Jean-Qui very low. Agni very low. And since they're fighting right next to Piccolo's well, they're able to heal up so quickly here. Athena in a pretty bad position. Are they going to be able to tear her down before she gets away? The Cocoon's definitely going to help with that, but she's just so tanky. Bacchus is going to get blown up by a meteor. Jean-Qui's going to go and finish off Arachne and get torn down by Kronos in return, who might pick up the Agni. There is the rewind, and now Agni needs to get out of there. He does not have his passive flames. Combat blink, gone. Run for the freaking hills, but it's not enough. He turns around and tries to fight, unable to stop the Kronos War Machine, who takes him down at the end. A 3-for-4 exchange in favor of Piccolo, who has Isis and Kronos still up, versus just Athena.
I think if Athena was part of that engagement there between the two, it would have gone very, very differently. Athena did have her ultimate towards the end of that engagement, which she easily could have used to reduce the damage taken from Agni, which I think would have been enough to allow Agni to survive that one activation from the Kronos, which means the Kronos might have fallen there to the Agni. I would like to see the Doom Ward being sold now by the Kronos at this point, unless he has it full stacked, but no, he just recently died. You see the stacking items already being sold there for Vegeta. You see none left on their team. Heartseeker still on Xbalanque, who just died in the last team fight, and of course still the Doom Orb on Kronos. I think it would be better for them to either sell those and get defensive items, or just sell them and get, you know, a little bit more middle ground, or even more a damage item, and start up a Deathbringer or something along those lines for Xbalanque, or possibly, you know, some more penetration for the Kronos. So a little bit strange pickups there. The Fire Giant has respawned, the Gold Fury has respawned. Those are both available for either team to take at this point. After it's all said and done, 12.5k up is Vegeta. They lost experience and gold lead overall with a very, very greedy engagement there. They dove under the Phoenix, and we saw Jean-Qui initiate that with a blink ultimate into 5 people and ended up falling towards the end. Of course, Fenrir jumped in the tower and took probably about 1,200 to 1,500 damage just from the Phoenix. Athena really was not in there in time to tank the extra damage for her team. Of course, Athena being the only one surviving there. I think that Vegeta is so far ahead and got so cocky there that they thought, you know, they could just end this regardless of the situation, which of course is not true in Smite. Smite, the game's not always over, especially if we're going to make greedy plays like that, like we saw from Vegeta. So, you know, they got to take a little bit of a grain of salt from that, kind of pick it up and realize that we have to play this proper. Even though we're so far ahead, we got to shut this down right, and once we do, we'll have the game. But if we keep playing the way we're playing, Piccolo's going to start to slowly come back into this.
Absolutely, and I mean, I feel like that team fight with that Jean-Qui crazy man mode initiation that was the hammest I've ever seen anyone ham could have went a lot better if Vegeta had jumped in there with him, because he kind of blinked in, ulted, looked around, saw nobody was coming, and just kind of sadly waddled out by himself. Because realistically, his ult's not only doing damage, it's doing a ton of healing for everyone as well. Arachne taking a lot of damage from the Fenrir here, dodging his jump as everyone tries to push in and contest his Fire Giant. This is the huge spread team fight. Neath ults Arachne off of Fenrir's head, who misses the Brutalize, but finishes her off with one auto attack. Isis fighting as hard as she can there. They're trying to collapse and pick her off, and they're going to be able to do that pretty easily. Bacchus trying to lay down a stun to cover his team's retreat at this point. Intoxicate, so they're too drunk to follow him. They're going to have to call a cab. They can't drive in that condition, but it doesn't matter. Fenrir's Brutalize can be driven by anyone. He's going to leap in, but it's not enough to get Athena into the action. She's going to try and charge in to land a taunt here on the Bacchus, which she does get. And there is another Fenrir Brutalize. The Bacchus is very tanky. Are they going to be able to tear him down to the Chrono stun? I don't know. He's so low, but he's going to get away from this one. He is going to get away, leaving it a 2-for-0 exchange instead of a 3-for-0, as Agni was kind of left behind to just hold the fire track. Agni's just trying to do his thing, waiting for someone to come save him from the big scary fireman.
See them rotating back over. Ani kind of jumping out of the flames there. The minute the fire giant will start dropping here, we see fire tart. Zhang Kui leading the charge over here, going to slow down the Bacchus. There's a stun coming soon. Kronos goes on top of this. Zhang Kui is not as tanky as he thinks. His Bacchus is going to jump in and force them off the fire giant. They will leash it when it's all said and done. Zhang Kui heading towards the middle lane. Fenrir kind of lurking around, seeing if he can't grab me. Of course, with all of them full HP, there's nothing he really do. I mean, at this point, the lead did go back in favor of Vegeta. They're up about 14,000 gold yet again. Fenrir going to do this damage buff here. Kronos kind of lurking around. They could go for the fire giant if they're fast enough, but they don't have the people in place to do it right now. They have the vision to make sure that if they do come over try and take it, they will be able to realize it in time. Tier 3 Hand of the Gods on Bacchus, Tier 3 Hand of the Gods on Athena. CCing that support take is going to be the prerogative of both teams if a fire giant does engage with both teams in range of it. So making sure that that Tier 3 does not go off in time is a really big important aspect of this next engagement. And I think if Piccolo takes away the fire giant, they will have an opportunity to possibly win a team fight, as that will clear some of the gold difference between these teams as the builds start to get finished here. So we still see Kronos with that Doomer, we still see Xbalanque with that Heartseeker, Bacchus finally hitting that Sovereignty Greaves combination that you need so desperately. The fire giant getting started yet again for Vegeta, but Piccolo is in range. There's Isis in the backside getting completely collapsed on. They're going to just disengage the fire giant and go for the Isis. There goes the burst damage. Isis down 4v5 thus far. They're a little bit out of positioning, but Piccolo's not going to initiate. There's an initiation from the Bacchus right down the Xbalanque. Actually, Xbalanque dumping it as well. There's a triple taunt into a Bacchus ultimate, into a stun from Zhao Kuang. Looks like it's the Zhao Kuang. Not going to be enough. Bacchus jumping away there. There's a stun from the Kronos, going to force back the Athena. Of course, they really want this engagement. Bacchus kind of getting ignored yet again. A stun from the Zhang Kui, and a free kill there as well. Picking him up with the ultimate will be the Fenrir running right into Kronos. Kronos is going to rewind it. Not in time. It'd be a crit from the Fenrir, or force him down into the dirt. A 3-for-0 exchange after the Isis and a surrender vote. Vegeta takes that. After this, all that big team fight goes down. Isis gets caught yet again. Isis sitting at 4-10 and a 1-10 Arachne. A big reason why Piccolo had such a hard time holding on to the lead that they earned in the early stages of the game. But look at the individual numbers here. We see Audi dropping 41,000 damage, Zhang Kui dropping 42,000 damage, as well as 11,000 healing, a whole lot of healing done. Contrast that to the enemy team. Kronos did 22,000, Xbalanque leading his team in second place with 25,000, and then 27,000 for Isis. But overall, I think they just didn't have the positioning they needed.
Absolutely, and Zhao Kuang there, laying down a ridiculous amount of damage and healing for his team. That ultimate is just so good when he jumps in, because, I mean, in game, let's be real, it does not do that much damage. But what it does is it gives him total CC immunity and ridiculous amounts of protection to just wade through a team fight and heal his team. The healing is more beneficial late game than the damage is, because it's paying off a lot more. He can jump in, pop that, keep his whole team alive as they team fight and as they jump on people's faces. Athena throws down triple taunts of justice, and then Bacchus can ult, and nobody really even cares. Zhang's not going to get drunk. He's fat. He can hold his liquor, and everyone else is going to get healed up immediately. So, I mean, we saw that coming through time and time again on the team fights. Him just saying, let's go, jumping in, ulting, and just starting an absolutely crazy party. Really, really helping get the team fight off on the right foot for Team Vegeta.
Checking itemization, we can see Isis trying to going for a lot of penetration there, but not a whole lot of defense, especially with the fact that he just kept getting jumped on time and time again. Arachne, of course, like you mentioned, really needed to give up on that damage route that she was going, especially since her early game wasn't that great. I mean, you know, going for the penetration from the Warrior Tabi into the Focus Void Blade definitely benefits her a lot if you're ahead. But even in the early stages of the game, Arachne was having such a hard time. You can see in a 47-minute game, Arachne didn't even hit level 20. So I think just avoiding the Void Blade altogether and going for tank items early on would have benefited her team more. Just going for that slow cripple, looking for the silence, looking for the hook, and basically just trying to secure kills for her team and allow Chrono, Xbalanque, and Isis deal out the damage while she fell into a brawler/tank role along with Bacchus to make her team a little more well-rounded. But since that she waited so long, she actually did not even finish that bulk of hope she had ended up starting. She was 110 with 11,000 gold farmed, actually a little bit more than the Bacchus, but definitely the second lowest in the entire game, in 9th place there. Definitely would have benefited her team a lot more if she went for more of a brawler type role to help round out the team and make those team fights a little bit stronger. We saw killers on Zhang Kui go a little bit too hard, and a lot of the engagements, in fact, died a lot, second most on his team, in situations where he probably wouldn't have died normally, able to get a very aggressive engagement off, and fortunately enough, it looked like Piccolo just didn't have what it took to capitalize on that. And overall, the team teamfight presence, positioning, and awareness of Team Vegeta here was enough to conquer them out, and they'll be heading off into the finals to face up against. We refresh the bracket to see who has progressed forward. Looks like Bulma is facing up against Master Roshi right now. Vegeta will be waiting in the finals to see the result of that match, and we'll be bringing that to you when it's all said and done. But I mean, Vegeta's looking really good right now.
Absolutely. They really did what they needed to do. Like we said, they completely ignored Bacchus and the team fights. They just walked around him. He's a tank. Nobody cares. And, I mean, they realize that there's a pro player on the other team. They see Pecky, so you see going 4-10. They focused Pecky's so hard, which they really needed to do. Because, I mean, they have someone that is a known quantity. They know he's good. They know he's good in mid lane, and he has Isis. They collapsed, and they ganked so hard, shut him down, and stopped him from getting to a point where he could just go totally am on people. Same with Kronos. They know Kronos was a big problem. They were content to let him sit in his lane and do his thing for a while and just exist, but eventually they rotated over and ganked him. As soon as he started trying to poke his head out, they just brutally murdered him every time he showed up. I mean, they shut down the people on the enemy team that they knew were good players, that had proven themselves already, and they knew needed to be stopped. And at the end of the day, taking those guys out early won them the game.
It certainly did, and that's one of the biggest things to focus on. It's the small, minute details that build to a stronger whole. So that's going to be it for this semifinal, guys. We're going to take a brief break while we wait for the semifinal to be finished. Looks like they're about to finish up. And once they're done, we'll head directly into the finals of best of 3 between Vegeta and whoever wins between Master Roshi and Bulma. Now, if this turns out to be Vegeta versus Bulma, that would be hilarious, as they are a couple in Dragon Ball. So we'll see how that works out, guys. Definitely stick around. We'll be back with the grand finals of this Code Green Tournament NA. Of course, if you're curious about what Tiermonster is, go ahead and sign up at tiermonster.com. All you need is an email and a Smite in-game name. We'll track your stats, we'll give you badges and achievements, and of course it allows you to participate in all the Code Green tournaments, which are single-man sign-up tournaments, which means you don't even have to have a team to sign up. You can sign up by yourself and compete and see what it's like to be part of a tournament. But we'll head into the grand finals soon, guys. We'll come back in just a few moments here, so stick around, be ready as we start the next match when it is ready to go.